The 60s and 70s are back all over again. The endless romance designers seem to have with counterculture fashion was in full swing at Milan Fashion Week, where WSJ fashion reporter Christina Binkley had a front row seat. And she joins us now. Hi, Christina.
Hey, Tanya.
So, Christina, you wrote that the Milan shows didn't just reference the 70s. Many of them had pretty literal representations.
I actually felt like I may have lived a little more of the 70s now than I did back then when I was too young to enjoy them. This was seriously literal. This is leather fringe and maxi dresses galore, necklines plunging down to the clavicle, the whole bit.
Wow, it sounds like fun. Let's get into some of those trends, starting with the maxi dresses. Oh my God, look how gorgeous Naomi Campbell looks in that picture.
You know, that was actually, for me, that was the killer dress of the whole thing. We saw a lot of maxi dresses, a lot of flowy things, but partly it's a really unique take by Pucci on tie-dye, but Naomi Campbell just rocked it.
And for some of these designers, namely Pucci, the 70s really mark a return to their heyday.
Yeah, actually, Peter Dundas, the designer of Pucci, said that he's a frustrated child of the 70s. He's not actually old enough to have had any fun back then. But that was a big period for Pucci. You know, of course, they were the sort of the mod brand back in the 60s and 70s.
Oh, yeah, bringing that back. Now, you also saw a lot of leather and suede.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, anybody who has a suede handbag from the 70s with all the long fringe hanging out, just go get it. You don't have to buy a new one. It is absolutely in. We saw leather boots even. Etro did these fabulous leather or suede boots, actually, with fringe that was then tied with sort of cords that wrapped up the calf. So totally Woodstock look.
I love it. I'm going to raid my mom's closet. I know she had a lot of those in her college days. Now, what about mixed prints?
Yeah, well, you know, the thing about the 70s is they got very ethnic and very kind of global. People were suddenly interested in traveling the world and picking up prints from India and stuff like that. So what we saw was just massive mixes of this stuff, just layer upon layer. Not so much clashing colors. A lot of times it was colors were laid on top of sort of similar colors, but all of these wild prints. Etro was very Indian. Missoni did a lot of print layering as well.
I love it. There's something very sexy about the whole look. I don't know if it's, what does it encapsulate to you? Sort of a sense of freedom, a sense of just being up for anything?
Well, you know, that was what the 70s were all about, right? And that's what we're talking about. The show notes were all about independent women and freedom. But, you know, the 70s was a period of rebelling. It was rebelling against everything your parents ever wanted you to do, right? So guys were growing their hair long and people were sort of letting it all hang out, literally, of their clothing, which is a little bit of what's going to be going on with this.
But you say retailers love it too, right, Christina?
They were super excited, and I think actually one retailer I talked to from Macy's told me that they're turning around and going to be talking to their private label designers to design the Macy's line around a lot of these great 70s looks. So we're going to see it at every price range fast.
I've got no problem with that. I'm on board. All right, Christina, thank you so much for that.
My pleasure.